Welcome back. I want to understand what makes a woman who she becomes, because somewhere in their story, we usually recognize part of ourselves. This is her side of the stories. And then you built your life, you got married, and then later, all of a sudden, they asked you to become a queen.
My life collapsed. Everything I built, everything collapses. And I find myself in a completely new paradigm that turned my life upside down.
The elephant in the room was too big. Can't
You
unsee
barely
it.
came out of it with your life. And then my father and my uncle placed a crown on my head.
Like literally a crown.
A crown. Oh my God, I am in the middle of the jungle. I don't know what just happened. I said yes to what? Oh, no, you're not the princess anymore. You are the queen. I was princess for like 3 minutes. I wish you told me when I was 5 years old. Because when I was 5 years old, I was that little black girl that was not represented in Disney's world of princesses. Because none of them looked like me. I break and panic sets in. So I become extremely depressed. I cry every day. I beg for a solution. I wasn't worthy for that. I'm not good enough for this. It's not me. They're gonna look at me like an imposter. Nothing. All these demands were not coming from my people.
Wow.
They were only coming from me.
Her Majesty Queen Diambi is a traditional queen of the Democratic Republic of Congo. But before the crown, she lived between two completely different worlds, between tradition and modernity. She's a woman that builds her own life for decades before being pulled into something much bigger. This is her side of the stories. Her Majesty, it's an honor having you here. I'm really glad we made it. You're the first royalty I have on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's also quite an honor for me to be here.
Aww.
And I was looking forward to have this conversation. So thank you for inviting me.
And one thing that really struck me is the rich story you have as well, because you were raised between two completely different worlds and cultures.
Mm-hmm.
You were born in Belgium. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right, yes.
And your parents, your dad is from Congo and your mom is Belgium, isn't she?
Yes, she is, indeed.
So can you tell me a little bit about that upbringing?
Yes, absolutely. I grew up in Congo mainly, so I didn't see myself as different to anything really, because I think in Congo, yes, of course, they made sure that the kids at first, when they didn't know me, they would tease me a bit and call me white girl.
Really?
Because today's standard, I'm like a white girl. So they even had songs to tease me, and they would be like, "Oh, look at the white girl looking like a bean," and da da da. But it's kids. But after that phase, once it was over, it was just like they tease a red hair girl, or if you have freckles or something. You know, they might tease you or something about your nose or something. So I stuck out because I was lighter skin, my hair was different, and my mother was white.
Yeah.
But it took a minute. And after that, it was done. And so I think that the ability for African people to integrate people that are a bit different is bigger than what I had in Europe.
Yeah.
And thank God, because when they would tease me, I would go to my mom and I would cry and I would say, "Mom, they teased me, they did it." And Mom was like, "Those are your people. You have to figure a way to handle it. And because if you don't, then you will be an outcast." So then I would go back and maybe I beat a couple of kids in my youth. Mea culpa. but then that was a door open to me becoming a cool kid. And
it's good advice though of your mom.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to figure it out.
Yes, I think she was a tremendous force into making sure that I would not feel any kind of shame or stress from being different. I was privileged to be with the folks in the town, and so the regular folks. So which I think gave me that profound love and groundedness for my land of Congo and the people and the culture, and so the acceptance that this is me, and of course the same with eventually Europe, that I also had to negotiate my way in. Because,
how was that?
Well, that was a little bit harder because at 16 I had to move to Europe, and there you're the black girl. They don't care if you like a lighter, whatever, or your mom is white. They look at you and you are And your identifier is how you...
Especially
how you
at that
look.
time, you're probably one of the
Yes.
very few as well.
Yes. So I'm confronted with a lot of prejudice because people don't know. And it's...
Did your mom prepare you for that?
Not at all. And then I think she was not prepared for that as well. Because, you know, what experience she had. She did marry the black man. It was really tough. When I was forced to go to Europe, not because I wanted to go, but I would go sometimes because my grandmother, you know, my mother's family or my family on my mother's side is in Europe, and they are. So my cousins, and so I would go during the summer vacation to meet my family or Christmas time. So I always loved to go and, you know, spend a bit of time and then come back home to Congo, because I find Europe to be extremely restrictive and constricted and restrictive. It was small spaces and coats and, you know, and all that. And I was the free kid. I climbing on trees and running around, and all is open, and Kinshasa is a hustle and bustle city, and there's music everywhere.
Can't be more different.
There's a lot of colors, all kinds. I mean, you can see, you know, I kind of represent that energy. So yeah, coming to Belgium was almost like somebody shut the light on me, and it was hard. The environment was rough because it was cold. I didn't like the cold. The people were cold. So you barely...
How were they reacting to you?
Well, they would just, you know, I was an interesting black girl, but I was still a black girl. And at first, of course, just like everywhere else, the young people are the most open-minded one, but they will first affront you with those stereotypes. So you're going to have to deal with them firsthand from the youth, because they have no filters.
Yes.
So they will be like, oh, they're going to be harsher.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, you black, you know, do you live with monkeys? Blah. All these stereotypes, you know, do you eat people in your country? Do you... And so now you have to kind of like start picking all apart and start first understand, but why would they even say things like that? And then you get into the Hollywood world. And now you're like, oh, okay, now I know, okay, there's Tarzan, and King Kong, and that's where you get your information from about me. Oh, I get it. So, sorry.
It's just painful listening to it, honestly.
I was in cognitive dissonance. I was like, wait a minute, I mean, this is how they're presenting me or how they're perceiving me, but I grew up in Congo and it's not at all like this. So it's come the first kind of like contradicting movement, and where I see that there is indeed within me two worlds. So I'm from here, okay, because I was born here. My mom is from here. I have my grandma that looks like this. All my uncles, my cousins, you know, they are like Vandenberg and Frère, and you know, and de Lens, and they have all these Europeans, and they are part of who I am, and I love them. I love them. They love me. I love them. But when I go outside, they tell me, you're not from here.
What story were you telling yourself?
Well, I don't know exactly, but I think at the beginning I was quite more confused than anything. And I just said, this is an abrasive environment, and I just have to rough it. Like, I was a rough kid, so I'm going to just rough my way through it. And then one day I will go back to Congo anyway.
How was that experience for you not to be completely accepted? What was the reality of it?
Luckily, I had a home. So I felt I'm in a foreign land. Yes, it is my mother's land. Yes, it is my family's land. My sister lived there from the time they were like very young. And I'm a foreigner in my own land, but it's okay because I have a home. So I could go home in my head. I knew I was from somewhere. So I didn't have like an identity crisis at the time, because I knew I was Congolese. Sure. I grew up in Kinshasa. I have my friends there. I had a life there. I'm temporary in Europe. And then, of course, things happen. Eventually, after they asked me several times, how do a plane land in the jungle? And I made enough jokes about it to make sure that people understood how stupid the questions were. But then I also understood that they did not have the information. So then they not have the information, and I actually did not have the information neither. In the sense that I had the experiential information because I lived there, but how do you now explain to others in a way that they can understand? So this is where I started to find I had a deficit, because I realized even in Congo we didn't study the history of Africa. the history of Congo. So we studied the history of Congo from colonization on.
Exactly. It was colonized for so long, so it was completely wiped out, I imagine.
But it was also a strategic decision to not teach us about who we were.
Because they don't want you to go there.
No, they wanted to perpetuate, the cultivate and perpetuate that servant mentality that, you are the servant, we're going to build you up to be kind of like the master, but never the master. So therefore, in our education books, I didn't have stories about the kingship, the kingdoms of Africa, even less so the kingdoms of the Luba people. So I realized that I was also like missing information. So then you are a kid, so you find your way. And then one of my way was music and dance.
Because I can imagine it being really rough as well. Like, I mean, I grew up in Holland.
Yes.
I faced crazy racism, people throwing rocks at me. I mean, so I can imagine for you as well, must have been a bumpy ride.
Yes, but more so in young adulthood than in my childhood, my teenage years. So because you can kind of like when you're a teenager, a child, you kind of can zoom out because you create yourself a bubble. It's like a special bubble of you and your friends and the things that you like. So that can, they will tease you at first before when they don't know you, and then you tease them back with a smart reply to joke. And I am a smart mouth, so you're gonna tell me, oh, how do you land in the jungle? I would say, no, we really don't land. We actually parachute. So when you get to above your zone, they just
stupid question, stupid answer.
Yeah, parachute you out of the plane, and then you parachute in the zone, and then your people come with drums to get you with the gorillas, and then you can. Horseback ride on a zebra all the way to town. And they were like, what about your luggage? I was like, well, those would be dropped in another area. I would drag them sometimes about until it gets so ridiculous that they're like, you got me. So, the luggage will be dropped in a drop zone, and the elephant then will. So I never
what an amazing way of dealing with it.
But so this is me. This is who I am. But because I was a smart kid in Congo, so I dealt with that. So smart kid. So okay, you think you're smart? Let's do this. Let's have fun with this.
Game.
And then we also have the jokes for the white people. So I also can ask them some jokes about them. So then they realize
you needed to defend that in Congo.
Yes. So and then I know the jokes they were telling about white people. So now I can adapt, and I say, okay, so we can go there, or we can go to blow, because I'm also a martial artist, and even without being a martial artist, I can kick your ass. If you want to go there. If you don't, we can be friends, and we can hug, and then do fun, cool stuff together, do hip-hop, reggae, do painting, go to club. We can do that. So what you want to do? So 99% of the time, we went to the part where we decided to be creative together and create.
You disarmed them.
Create our reality, and then they turn out to be the most extraordinary people that I still have in my life today, and that's taught me something that sometimes you have to push through. You cannot just excuse behaviors or something, but you have to understand behaviors. So once you understand, then you can then push through with the right attitude, the right posturing, so that you don't engage in the conflict and amplify the conflict.
Very wise way of dealing with it at that age. So you never felt any sort of resentment?
The resentment came when I became an adult, not when I was a child.
And where was that resentment coming from?
Well, when you become an adult, you deal with prejudice in a different way. You are more sensitive, because now you understand what it means. And then you start seeing that the way a person treats you is not just you that are treated this way, but it's a collective. So it's the people that look like you now. So because when they are nasty with you, you wonder, what did I do to deserve that? Absolutely. But then you realize now that it's not about who you are, it's about what you are. So you are an African...
What you represent.
Woman.
Yes.
And you are an African person.
Yeah.
So, and then it coincided with me going to study in New York. So I go to the United States, and there I find another aspect of my identity there, because you have the African Americans. And they come from Africa. Their ancestors were forcefully taken from Africa. And
of course. Oh,
I did.
Was that confronting?
It was because they don't teach you that history in Africa. So
you didn't know anything about it?
No, until
wow.
I saw the TV show Roots. So they don't teach you about the period of enslavement of our people at all.
Why do you think that is?
Well, the one who are colonizing you are the ones who did that.
Doing it.
So you think they would put them, paint themselves in a light where they are.
No, of course. But I thought maybe between people there's some kind of resentment somehow, like endowment.
If you have the memory of it, so you can only resent what you know.
Sure.
So if you don't know, you cannot resent it. That's it. That's your reality. But when I go to the United States, I meet now the African American. So I knew the story.
The other generations that actually came from.
Exactly. They are the descendants of those. So they are very curious because they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from Congo.
Did you feel different when you met them?
At first, yeah, because I'm a Congolese girl at first.
Sure.
Yes, I'm from Congo and the same, but then they bombard me with a bunch of questions and I realize that I have a complete deficiency about my own identity. They want to know stuff that I realize that I don't know. Why are they asking me this question? All I know is Kinshasa, the capital city. It's modern. We have cars and roads and highways and skyscrapers and electricity, and we have TV, and we have discotheques, and that's the Africa I know. I don't know the Africa they're talking about with the tradition, the this, the that, because they did work so they can reaffirm their identity as African origin. So they went to dig from the history, the heritage.
Something alive inside of them.
Yes, and they kept a lot alive from their culture that we in Africa took for granted. So the music, the food, the way of language, the gait, the dances.
That was all they had as a home, wasn't it?
That's all they could hold on to. So I have no, but I did have resentment for my father too, because I feel like, he was supposed to be the primary source to give me some indicators of some parts of my identity.
You for it.
But he did in his way, because that's like he had no other way.
And what was then the resentment against your culture coming from?
No, the resentment was not against my culture. The resentment was against my Western upbringing and my Western family for basically lying to me. Because once I get in and I start to find out the wealth of my African heritage, the kingdoms, the empires, the amazing kings and queens, the philosophers of Africa, the fact that we do mathematics 25,000 years ago in the Congo.
What did that do to you? And did that anger also affect your stay and studies in New York?
Absolutely, because that's made me want to be more aware of who I was and who I came from. And also it gave me something that I didn't know before I had. It gave me balance.
Did it?
Because,
in which way?
Because growing up, when you are two cultures, or you come from two polarities, and one is a dominant one, which is the Western one.
Yeah.
So like I said before, that makes you an unbalanced person because you are grounded and really in my Western heritage.
Yes.
The West is best. I navigate through that. So developing this understanding of my roots, my African roots, gave me the chance to now balance it out. Because to when they say, you were little savages and you were running around, before I would have said, but look at me now. I can drive a car. I can wear the clothes you wear. I speak better French than you do. So on that field of competition, I'm catching up, or I've caught up. But with now, it was not about that anymore. It was like, wait a minute. No. I am balanced because look at the heritage I come from. It's amazing. It's grand. It's intelligent.
So it came full circle.
Full circle. I don't have to be you. I don't have to be you to be someone. I don't have to master your frame of reference. I have my own, and it's rich, it's potent, it's beautiful, it's creative, it's strong. So I do take pride in the fact that I come from those people. And then now it goes to something even deeper now. It's like, and you are bragging to be the top of the world? Now let's examine your behavior. So you are the one who have been enlightened. So what did you do with that enlightenment? So you went and pillaged the entire planet? You exterminated the entire population of the world? You brutalized and terrorized the entire planet? You held hostage everyone and everything they owned? And then you say that you are the civilized one?
Yeah.
So who's the savage now? But then I am also from them. So I have it in me too.
It's a part of you as well.
So that's like now a rebound.
Because I was actually thinking, you spent so much time in Belgium, and that's a big part of you. But those were actually the ones colonizing you.
Exactly.
That must have also created such a conflict inside of you.
Yes, so that's a pendulum that I'm talking about. So, you know, I'm going now all the way. I'm like, yes, I'm African and proud to be. At least our people didn't do that and they were doing this.
Is that how you healed yourself, to reconnect?
Absolutely. I had to own my heritage. And that's probably why later on in life, they picked me. Because I did the work. I was doing it for my children. Because my children goes to the private school in Boca Raton. And they have world history.
To set the record straight.
Well, they have a world history textbook. And Africa has 1 page in it. So what am I paying all this money for if you're going to continue to tell my kids the same lies? So it was not only about me now. It was about my children too, and their children, and those who will come after, to know that they can anchor their identity on the solid ground of the complexity of it, not just because they were Westerners, but also because they were from the Caribbean, because their father's Puerto Rican, and they are Africans, and they're European from Europe, and so all that complexity, they had to understand the complexity, the challenge that comes with the complexity, but also with the benefit that comes with it. Your ability now to connect and to have a deeper sense of what it is to be us when we break all those barriers and we can go to the essential, which is just a human being that is fundamentally the same anywhere on the planet.
Yeah.
I also had to research and find out, why would they behave in this way? Were they just mere brutes and barbaric people and evil to go around and exterminate an entire population just so they can take their land? And it would not sit well with me. I would have to really do like a massive work of amendment for my ancestors. So I had to understand. Every behavior has a reason. Unless, of course, you're dealing with complete sociopaths or psychopaths. But most people are not.
Is that why you studied psychology?
Yes, I needed to understand why we behave this way. Because I needed to know what was the path of redemption for my European ancestors.
What was the motive?
So to find redemption for them and me, because I am them, I needed to understand why. And when I started to understand why, then not that I forgave, but I accepted and I understood that when you are faced with existential threat, you want to survive.
Makes so much sense.
And a king who has a population who is starving, is dying of plague every other weekend.
You need to find a solution.
Has no resources. They tried another way. Europeans tried to fight among themselves for thousands of years to get their hands on those resources among them. And I have that also in my blood, because I have Irish, English, Spanish, Dutch, Nordic. I have all kinds of mixed heritage in my European lineage.
Such an inspiring story. I do really get that brings peace.
Yeah, and so what's the core? At the core it is, I think, a fear of having to lack and having to die, and the weather conditions, and you are in Africa, in Congo, the jungle is abundant. You're gonna eat You're not going to have to worry about, am I going to eat tomorrow? So it's not, so now it make me understand, it's not about me being black. It's about them coming from that paradigm of fear of lacking and having minimal resource for too many people to share and smashing each other on the head thousands of years. And then realizing that, but we can go there. There's more land over there.
Yeah. It's more, more huts, more food, more everything.
We could go there. We just take the land, but they come with a modus operandi that is, we need to bash them in the head because that's all they've been doing. That's how they could get land. So you think they're gonna say, maybe we can get land over there if we just ask?
Yeah.
So they don't come with that mentality and say, we just have to go ask them and they're going to give us land. Yeah. Maybe if they did, they would have.
Yeah.
But that's not how they don't come from that culture.
Of course.
So
it's not their reference.
It's not their reference. It's like if somebody's on the land and you want it,
you have to fight.
You got to fight for it. You got to come and...
Oh, this makes so much sense.
Yeah. So therefore, I was able to find a path to also redeem my ancestors and say, I understand the behavior.
But you had to forgive as well.
Yeah. Of course. And I think that it was an individual quest. It wasn't to say, the world has to do this. No, but this was an individual quest for my own balance. And for me to be able to embrace all humanity, all the humanity that is within me. That is because we traveled through the world from the time we left Africa. The first part of my family stayed in the Middle East for maybe a couple of thousands of years before they went further into the West to finally arrive in Europe in some ways. So embrace all your trajectory as a human being and embrace all the diversity and how it expresses itself in all these different ways.
Makes so much sense. And then you built your life, you became very active in mental health fields.
Yes.
You have 2 beautiful children. Yeah. You got married. And then later in life, all of a sudden you had another surprise and they asked you to become a queen.
Well, yeah, but the first surprise was a catastrophic failure of my marriage. So after 20 years, all my life collapsed. Everything I built with my ex-husband, everything collapses. And I find myself really, in a completely new paradigm that turned my life upside down.
And how old were the kids at that point?
Already, the older one was already in 20 and the younger one was around 16. So it was still very difficult for my children and for me and for my ex-husband, of course, because, it's a tear. Yeah. And then it's a requirement for restructuration.
Yeah. Did it make you question your own identity again?
Absolutely, because I'm in my 40s and now
all of a sudden a single mom.
I'm also a foreigner in America. I'm still a Belgian African woman.
Yeah. Still not home.
I've been mom all these years. I've been wife all these years. The family of my ex-husband, they were my family, and now all of a sudden, like a cut limb is gone. So that support network, that love network that I had with them is just taken away. But it was a decision. It was my decision, but it's like I have to rebuild a new me. And basically you blow up first, and then now you start picking up the pieces that you feel like are instrumental for who you want to be in the world. So my African heritage was definitely, I think, the centerpiece of what I wanted to be in the world.
How did you heal from that? It's such a vulnerable, scary place to be in.
I think thanks to my African heritage, I healed because I started to want to study the spiritual system, because the spiritual system is just a way that you can make sense of things and where you can find tools to be resilient.
Deal with your trauma and pain.
Yes. So that's really what spirituality is. It's really therapy. In therapy.
Makes so much sense.
So
did you go back to Africa?
Yes, I went back, but that's when this whole queen thing came about. But before that, I went into a period of initiation through learning the tradition, the ancient tradition, receiving the information, the protocol, because it's it's not, do it as you feel. No, that's not African spirituality. It's a very, very structured. So it's all the initiation process as rituals, and the rituals are a way to kind of like unlock, because we are like almost like gridlocks. and then unlock every lock so that every time you do, you get becoming more aware of who you are, and you becoming more aware of your potential as well. And you become more aware of your trauma and how to develop the resilience, how to let go of it. So it's real. That's why I say it's therapy. So you're not gonna come in and then just think you can do something, and then all of a sudden you've been enlightened and now you're floating with Buddha and consort. No. And then once we do, then you become a servant to your community. It's not just me, myself, and I. God loved me and I love God and I am God. Yeah, you are, but now you are here. So as mom, what kind of mom are you? As a boss, what kind of boss are you? So yes, we know you're God. But if you were God and wanted to be there, you should have stayed there. So if you materialized and came here, what's your purpose? So live your purpose. What's the tree? So what's the fruit of that tree? Is it mango? Is it apple? And is it effectively you are a tree that has to bear fruit. And what you bear fruit for? The tree doesn't eat its own fruits.
Of course not.
So you are there to make sure that you are a benefit to others.
Oh, this is so beautiful.
So and you have to be readily available to share it. It's not for you. If it was just for you, you can stay in your God state, up wherever, the ether, wherever God is. So it's a different type of approach to spirituality. It's very practical.
Incredible.
Very, very practical. So there's no acceptance for nonsense when you have been initiated and trained. You cannot, sorry for the expression, but you cannot bullshit your way into this. You are accountable now. And your community will remind you, because it's not something that you do one-on-one, you and your channels or whatever. Great, they're there. We all accept that. But you're accountable to you first, but you're accountable to the community of the yous, because all that is the community of the yous. So Ubuntu, I am, because we are. So how are you accountable to that community of the us?
So gorgeous.
So,
if only the whole world had that philosophy.
But we have it. It's ours. That's why I want to make sure people understand that. Go back to Africa. It's right in you. It doesn't belong to a particular set of people. It's our treasure. We collected this treasure through our experience for thousands and thousands of years. So I'm saying, don't just go back 100 years or 1,000 years. Go back to your origins. When you have an oracle reading, it's a public thing.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. So whoever wants to come and see and listen to what the oracle is going to say about you can.
Oh, my God.
And the oracle, the priest who's trained to read the oracle, has witness too, who can read the oracle too. So you better know what you're saying, and it better be verifiable.
So the spirituality helped you with healing the pain of the divorce?
Yes, absolutely. And opening up my perspective to understand that the issue, or what brought me to eventually this divorce, was a series of life events and decisions. So it was almost a moment to kind of like do a detox and decide from exploding which pieces I was going to take to integrate in the new self I wanted to be in the world, and those that I felt it was time that they had served me and or not, and they could no longer be part of what I wanted to use for as a building material. So I was just recovering from that, but at the same time, as I prepared for several years to become an initiate, to become a priestess. So it took 7 years, and I was still married when I was preparing. And then right at the cusp, and I think it was also a catalyst for me to decide that it's over. Because you are so faced with the truth that you cannot escape it. So I'm not going to,
and that takes long.
Take away from the fact that, yes, when you go to that path, only what is authentic and what is meant to be, in the sense what is meant to serve you as relevance, stays. Everything else goes. So as I was walking on the path to eventually become initiated, I was initiated a couple of months before I decided to leave my husband.
The elephant in the room was too big.
Too big. So the fact that, so then that's when the whole thing collapsed. So I was initiated, and then the collapse went even faster, because he was like, I can no longer, it's almost like you have an allergy now to things that are not truthful, real, and also contributing to the edification of your life. So it's like you detox, now you can't, ingest toxins anymore.
Yeah.
Because you barely came out of it with your life. So that's what happened. But during the initiation process, there is what we call the divination part, where an oracle will read your system and understand a little more about who you are, why you're here. So there are all those fundamental questions that eventually in ancient time we used to do when the child was born, but that we don't do anymore. So therefore, that's when I reconnected with my father. And I say to him, Dad, I want to go back to Congo. But there's something else that happened where I was having dreams of an older African woman in my dream coming to be present in my dream. And I was like, but what is this woman doing in my dreams? I don't understand who that is. She looked familiar in a way, but I'd never seen her. And she kept on coming like once a month or twice a month. And every time I saw her in my dream, she was getting closer and closer, until one day she came so close that I saw that she was crying. And I was like, but who are you and why are you crying? And all she did was point. And she pointed to something, and I looked at what she was pointing at. And it was a village, burning, like in the forest, you know. I grew up in Kinshasa. Hello, I grew up in the city. I'd never seen a village in Africa. I saw them on National Geographic, just like you. Same with the lions, maybe at the zoo in Kinshasa, but not in my backyard. So here I am seeing a village burning with pain and women being raped and children being killed. And it was just a nightmare. And I screamed, and I woke up from that nightmare, and I was crying. And then I was like, but what is this woman telling me? What is the dream? What is the dream? What does that mean? And then all of a sudden it dawned on me. I am from there, but I've never seen a village. I've never seen where I come from. And therefore, when I reconnected with my dad, I said, Dad, I'm going to come back to Congo, but I want you to take me home to where we come from, where you were born. I want to put my feet there. So the grounding, I wanted it there. Not Kinshasa, because Kinshasa wasn't out. I mean, yeah, I grew up there, but where I come from. We say where the belly button, you know, when your baby and it falls off that little piece, we bury it in the ground where you were born. So I say, I want to see where they buried your belly button. And my father was like, really? But why? I said, Dad, I just need to see. I just need to go at least once in my life to see where my grandparents were and how they lived and how you were. So he's like, oh, maybe it's not a good idea, blah, blah, blah. He tried to dissuade me. And I was like, I don't care if you don't want to go, I'll go. And then eventually he's like, okay, I better not fight. And this is only the time where he said, when you go there, there will be a grand welcome. And I was like, a grand? Well, what do you mean a grand welcome? Because, well, they will be expecting you. And I said, oh, of course. I mean, you're going to tell them that, you know, you're bringing your children for the first time. That's the party, right? He's like, yeah, but not, yeah, of course. But furthermore, it's because coming from who you come from, it's going to be kind of like extra grand. My mother was Princess Chilomba, so my father's mother. So my grandma was Princess Chilomba. I'm like, what do you mean, Princess Chilomba? Yeah, she was the daughter of King 𝐶𝐶 and Queen Diambi, my grandparents. I was like, of course, you know, you have that moment of cognitive dissonance, like you don't understand, you try to make rational out of something that make no sense. Mm-hmm. Or is it an illusion? No, I didn't quite get it. And he's like, yeah, my grandfather was King 𝐶𝐶, and my grandmother was Diambi, and she was really, that's why you got the name Diambi, and she was adorable, and she loved me so much. I was her favorite, and so for the first time, my father tells me things that he never told me about his family.
Wow. Wow.
So I knew my father's family, but only those who came to Kinshasa, to the capital. All those who stayed, I didn't know anything about them because they were the villagers, you know, the ones who live in the forest, you know, those people, okay?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So then we organized, and it was a shock, of course, initially, and I kind of like didn't even know how it made sense. For me, it was just like, go home, ground yourself, get reconnected with and that's it. But also it dawned on me that I was like, so then if I'm from a royal lineage, then I'm a princess. What? And I'm 48 years old. So I'm like, what? What do you mean? Wait. Yes, you are from the royal lineage, so you are a princess. And the first reflect I had was to say, and you telling it to me now?
Wow, I get that.
Why? I wish you told me when I was 5 years old. Because when I was 5 years old, I was that little black girl that was not represented in Disney's world of princesses. Because none of them looked like me.
No.
And all the beautiful princesses and the sleeping beauties, and they look at the antipode of what I looked like. So I was not included in the fantasy world of the fairies and the princesses and this and that. And I was a little girl.
Heartbroken sometimes.
And I was like, because if I had known then I would confront that deficiency
in a very different way.
I am a real princess.
Yeah, actually.
I am not a make-believe one.
Yes, exactly.
Or an imaginary one from Disney. I am the actual thing. But then I was like, you know what? It would not have worked because I would not have been who I am today.
Absolutely.
I would have been maybe an idiot because of that. So maybe it was the best way. That's how I then went back home.
And then did they immediately recognize you as the queen?
They recognized me as a queen before I even went. Because when my father was asked the question and he said no, and they say, give us the name of your children. When he gave my name, and I go back to the story, they say, oh, that's an indicator. Diambi, the queen, has not come back yet.
But he didn't tell you?
No, he didn't tell me because he was like, oh, she's in America, it's irrelevant. They would never, no bother, find somebody else. And they were like, we kind of like think we have to ask Diambi first. So we wait, because it's okay, the throne is there. The king doesn't govern people, they self-govern, it's decentralized governance. So the king has a specific role. So it's okay, we'll wait. And my father was like, you wait until she's never gonna come back. And that dream, that little old lady, was actually my great-grandmother.
Wow.
So then basically, once it was basically put in the universe that, hey, we would like to talk to Diambi, the message came through, even though my father didn't. It came through dreams.
Incredible.
So they knew I was going to come. And they were telling my father, oh, don't worry, she will come one day. And my father was like, no, she's in America. She's in Florida, in Boca Raton. What do you think she's going to leave there to go in the middle of the jungle? You know, to sleep in a hut? And no, she won't.
So what happened when you got there?
The welcome was grand.
Wow.
So yeah, they were expecting me. So when my father announced that I was coming, they were like, we told you that she was going to come. And my father kind of like was taken too. He was like, oh, wow, I guess there is something there. So it was also a way for me to bring him back there, to bring him back to his roots as well.
What did that do to you, to go there, this grand welcome, and also see how they live?
It was an experience that hard to describe. It would probably require me 2 hours or more to just describe that. But the mere fact of just going there and driving through that dense forest and then getting to those small villages here and there, it was like I landed in the Garden of Eden, because it was almost like, so this is how we started, in the sense that, not that he was going backward in time, but this is how we started and this is how we were meant to live. So this is what...
Was it emotional seeing that?
Very emotional. This is what harmony looks like. You know, when as soon as you get somewhere, somebody rushes that you never met to you with, you know, food and water and a chair for you to sit and place you in the shade, caring for you. Why? For nothing. just because.
It's really touching.
So I was like, oh my goodness. So this is where you find you find your humanity. This is where this is how it was meant to be initially. So that's the source code. So when I got there, it was just a grand welcome, as my father said.
So many people.
But those who are at the cap, kind of like a core where the power resides, they bring me there, and the elder, who's my uncle, who's the one who's the custodian of all our regal elements and stuff, he's telling everybody, okay, the princess have come home. So for the first time since they're born, we get to see them. They came, those are the elders returning. One is 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭, my sister, and one is Diambi, and everybody's like, 𝐾𝐾𝐨𝐵's returned. Woo! Because my grandfather was 𝐾𝐾𝐨𝐵, not my great-grand, but my grandfather. So everybody's like, oh, 𝐾𝐾𝐨𝐵's back. This one is coming from the Diambi clan, like cosmic clan. So I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. And we are so happy to welcome the princesses, and we are honored. And then they say to my father, your debt has been paid. Because he was basically in debt because he didn't bring us back home. And then we thinking it's over. I'm like, woo. And then they give us like a blessing. And then it's a very short thing. And my sisters, we think we finish. And my sister goes, and I try to follow her. And they say, Diambi, can you just one moment, just hold. My dad is like, wait. And I'm asking my dad, I'm like, look, he's like, no, just. And then I'm a go with the flow type of person. So I'm there, I'm like, okay, I'm still asking why my sister's.
Rolling with it.
I'm going to roll with it. And okay. Then my uncle goes in front of me, and he tells me, oh, Diambi, we are really happy that you are back. Not that it's the first time I come. But they say you are back. I'm like, okay. But anyway, okay, we're going to maybe language barrier. And they say, okay, so are you now ready to take responsibility for your people? And as soon as he finishes phrase, without the space to put a comma or a full stop, I say yes. That's it. I don't even, it's like almost like I've been waiting for that question my entire life. I didn't ask, oh, can you hold a minute? Can you write it down so I can know what exactly are the responsibility? Because, from where I come from.
You have the small letters in the contract.
I do have a doctorate degree. So, they tell us to read the fine line before you sign. So I had not a breath for none of that. It just went, yes. But I also did know that yes came with a crown. So they didn't say, oh, Diambi, it's your time to reign over your people. You're going to be the queen. It wasn't that. He was, are you ready to take responsibility? And I was like, yeah, okay, bring it on.
How bad can it be? This came from a divorce, 2 kids.
You're right. So I can't do what do. But then the second after I said yes, they gave me a live rooster that I don't even know where it came from.
An oyster?
Rooster.
Oh, rooster?
A live rooster to hold.
For an offering?
Yeah, I'm holding a rooster, and he's very comfortable, and he's like very regal, beautiful rooster. I'm holding him like I held roosters all my life, and I have not. Cats, dogs, yes. Roosters, no. But I'm here with this rooster, and then I have my father and my uncle placed a crown on my head, and now I have this.
Like literally a crown?
A crown. I'm like a huge. I'm like.
It sounds like a movie.
Yeah, it sounds like a movie to me too, still today, okay? So it's not like, oh, this is normal, we do that in Wakanda every day. No, we don't. No, I don't. I grew up in Kinshasa, I went in Europe and then America. So no, I'm not from the village. I don't, jungle, everything is new to me in the jungle. I'm a baby in the jungle. So they have to watch me at all time. They have to put 2 people next to me at all time because I'm going to go touch what I'm not supposed to. I'm going to go burn some tree. No, they cannot trust me. So here I am in the jungle with the crown on. And I'm thinking, first, I'm not even thinking. It's almost like my brain was just like, switch off. And then switch back on. And it's like, zzz, like a jolt. And it's like, oh my God, I am in the middle of the jungle. I don't know what just happened. I said yes to what? And then I'm looking at my sister to kind of like find a clue. And we're like, and everybody's like, yeah, oh, and then they talk a language that I don't speak because my father did not teach me. So I'm like, oh, maybe I understood everything wrong. But I still have this thing on my head and I'm still holding a rooster. So, and now my father's like, come, we're going to parade you around. And I'm like, okay. So then I'll tell my sister, well, I guess the good thing is finally we are officially princesses. And then somebody heard me say that and they pull my shoulder, say, oh, no, you're not the princess anymore. You are the queen. So, I was princess for like 3 minutes. Princess, that's it. And now so this is when I went completely, so I was just walking like a very, just like going with the motion, but my brain was trying to process this. I was like,
way too much information going on.
Way too much. And then what queen what? Queen of beauty? You know,
what
this
does that
queen of
mean?
beauty is that one year they parade with that thing, and it's after a year, finish, another one comes in, maybe that kind of queen, or queen of the carnival, you did carnival, and here, it's a one-day queen, I don't know, or, one-day queen, the one on, when we do, the Christians, they do the January 6th, they do the 3 mages.
Oh, the 3 kings.
The 3 kings, you eat that thing, and then you have that debate inside, and then you are the queen of the day or the king of the day. So I'm thinking all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting to think, well, what if it's queen of the people, and then what do I have to live here in the jungle or whatever? Oh my God, how am I going to take that back? So now I'm thinking about, okay, let's just see what this is. And then I guess when I leave, I go back to Boca. It's over. I'm like, it's like a,
like a little ritual.
Yeah,
fun.
It wasn't. Now I had a dream, of course, that night, and everybody dancing and drumming for like 24 hours straight.
Wow.
And I'm exhausted.
So you knew it was something big.
And I'm asking my dad, and my dad is like, oh, just don't worry about it. Just relax. And I'm relaxed, not. But I'm enjoying myself though, because the chanting are so beautiful. The people are happy. They're jumping up and down. And I'm like,
Sounds
it's
big
a feast.
Ecstasy.
Yeah, it's a feast. But I cannot dance. So here I am now in the middle of the jungle of Congo with the crown. Probably I've eaten my rooster. I'm sorry, but probably so. But Ibiza is fine because we eat our chickens. And then I'm starting to say, okay, well, this is going to end, so it's okay. And we go. Off we go. But the news already traveled to Kinshasa, to my family in Kinshasa. So as soon as I land at the airport, everybody, it's also another welcome. And then we have Bell.
Did it not make you a bit nervous?
It made me nervous, but I'm like, I'm going back to Florida in like a few days.
Everything will be done.
Yes, everything is okay. Everything will go back to order. I will go back to being a therapist. And this is just like an episode. And it was not, obviously. I come back to Florida and I realized that I did accept responsibility.
And what is that responsibility? What do you have to do?
I had no idea. And that's why the whole record goes, because I'm like, oh, I'm a queen. What is it? What am I supposed to do? I'm not a billionaire or even not a millionaire. I'm a small thousandaire. I didn't find coffers of gold under the throne because most likely they are in Brussels, someplace in a museum, or in the coffer of the Bank of England somewhere. So my coffers are empty. So
what now?
I'm now going to the queen in the Western paradigm, like, powerful queen.
Yeah.
Now you are there, you inherit
our perception, isn't it?
Yeah, the castle is there, all the people are trained to know what to do, where to do. You don't even know how they paid. You don't even know where your food come from because they cook everything for you. You don't never set foot in a supermarket, let alone a little bodega. So, hey, how you do queen with none of the essentials.
Without the money?
None of the essentials of doing queen.
Oh, that's so funny.
I panic. I'm like, I think they made a mistake. So I'm calling my dad. I'm like, Dad, I think there's something that there's not aligning. So this queen thing is just like, he's like, no, you are the queen now. You are the queen. And you're going to get your ceremony for sitting on the throne later, but you have the crown. You are the queen. I'm like, did you tell them that my mother was white? Like she was like Belgian, white, super white, like white, blonde, green eyes, so they can know that I'm not kind of like not like an authentic, like tribeswoman. Maybe they should find one that really is more fit. My father said, no, they know your mom is white. They know that very well, and it's not a problem. It's actually fine. I said, not a disqualifier. So I'm very tormented because I feel like I have nothing to give them. I'm going to serve them how? What am I going to do? I cannot even build a well. I mean, I could build a well, but 10 and after that, that's it. I'm broke. I break and panic sets in. So I become extremely depressed.
Really?
I cry every single day, several times a day.
Oh, wow.
I cannot go back to work. I couldn't. I never went back to sit in a therapy with my clients. No.
Oh, I didn't see that coming, that plot twist.
I cry every day. I beg for a solution. I tell I'm incapable. I'm not. What do I have to offer? What
So
do
you
I
didn't felt worthy.
I wasn't worthy for that. I was like, and then it's like I don't even know them. I mean, yeah, they are my people, but I don't know them. I don't know the environment. I don't. So why? Why is it now that I'm just crushing from a divorce and now this, and I'm not good enough for this. It's not me. I don't even speak their language. They're gonna look at me like an imposter or something. I have all kinds of mental,
Doubts.
Doubts, and I cry a lot for 3 months straight.
Wow.
And then one day I have a call from a friend of mine. He's a king in Nigeria, beautiful, grand king. He's the king of 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐽, long tradition. Powerful king. But we were friends before. And he calls me. I pick up the phone. I'm holding it together. And he say, oh, Diambi, I heard that they crown you. You're now queen in your land. How are you? That second where you think you're going to hold it together and because, now you're going to put your mask on so you can be sociable. That moment didn't show up. So I start crying right away. I cried and I was like, oh my God, what is this? I'm not capable. This is not a mistake. Blah, 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 blah. Everything come out. And then he's just listening. He's like, oh, okay. Okay. All right. Then eventually you calm down because you cannot cry for
Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of like,
let it all out.
and he received everything. And he's a great king. The Oni of 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐽. And he's like, okay, I see. I said, you know what? What's the actual thing that is bothering you the most? He's like, I cannot do anything for them. He's like, okay, I see. You don't feel powerful enough. You don't think you have resources and all. No, I don't. And that's why I feel like I cannot do anything. And I went and said, I'm going to do something in front of everybody. And now I have to renege on my word. He said, when they crown you, what exactly did they ask you to do for them? And my brain went, ding. Nothing. All these demands were not coming from my people.
Wow.
They were only coming from me.
That's such a big lesson in life, isn't it?
So he said, you just have to be the queen. You don't have to do anything. Did the elders say anything? I said, yes. He said, what did they say? They say, listen to 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐽. 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐽 is your heart, is the organ, but it's also the throne of the divine energy. And they say, listen to 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐽. And when the time comes, if you can hear 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐽 speak, you will just do what your heart tells you to do. And he's like, okay, so that's a good start. And I was like, no, because my heart is screaming and just want to run out of the door. He said, okay, that's what you're here from now. So how about you come to Nigeria? We're having a beautiful festival of Obatala, which is my crown energy. Why don't you come and resource yourself? And you see, and Obatala is also the majestic kind of like king. Come to visit. And that's when I first went, my first official visit as Queen Diambi anywhere in the world.
Wow.
And it's the first time I had to put this crown on, which is my traveling crown. And I was super nervous. Like when you have exam, the kind of nervous that is over here, that make a lot of noise and stuff.
Yes.
And my hands were moist and I was like, I don't think I can do this and I cannot go out. And because I'd never been in front of the world as a queen. I told my
looked
friends.
out by everybody.
And I told my friends here and there, and some people were like, oh, this is so cool, but what's the, whatever. Oh, and some of them laughed. You know, they're like, oh, you're like the Queen of Zamunda, ha, ha, ha. So, because at the time, they didn't have Wakanda yet. So they were making fun of me. My mother was not very happy. She was like, what is that? What are you going to waste your time doing this kind of things? And nobody needs this. And so I had all kinds of pulls. Some people, oh, you think you're a queen now because you're a queen? So if I say, oh, no, I don't want sparkling water, I ask for flat. Oh, now you're the queen now?
Queenie.
Oh, okay, now you're starting to... It's like, I still want it flat over.
No.
So
everybody around you was behaving different with you.
Different response to it. So I had to also adjust to that and say, listen, if you're not going to be my friend anymore because now I'm the queen in the jungle, then so be it. Because then it's that energy.
This is it. So.
Yeah, this is it. And some people were like, oh, it's so stupid. And nowadays, being president or being a prime minister or being an ambassador even is better than being a queen of the jungle or something. So it depends. And some people were so happy. Oh, my God, this is amazing. Oh, now you're going to bring back something important. So little by little, my heart's starting to say, wait a minute. These people, those little people nobody gives a shit about, sorry for my language, they are meaningful. They are important. They are regal. Yes, they work the field and they go hunting in the jungle, but they know something and they have consistency in so many ways that we lost ours and we lost our resonance. So that's what I want us to do. So when I went to Nigeria for the first time, it was the festival. I had to come out for the first time in the world. I was trembling. Eventually, I got some courage to get out for the first time in the world. And I start hearing the whispering of the people seeing me walk, because in palace, you have courts and you have people all over the court, yard, and you go into the venue where the event is, but all along there's people there, and they're like, oh, who's that? And you hear like, who's that? And then they say, oh, it's Queen, oh, Queen. You hear over there, Queen. Oh, but wait, Congo, oh, Congo. So, and then it's almost like a murmur was starting to wake up in me, like Queen, Congo, Queen.
Oh,
and then I walk into that.
Did you feel anxiety rising?
Not anxiety, but more like, almost like I have to walk the walk now.
All right, yeah.
I can't walk it back anymore. I have to walk the walk of a queen. And then I get into the esplanade the palace where they're doing the event. So we get in, and then they usher me to an esplanade. And then on the esplanade, it's all big chairs and African kings seated there. Majestic. All from different places with different regalias. Wow. I'm like, and then there's an empty chair and I see that they're ushering me there. And they're like, you sit here.
So surreal. And you've lived your life for so long.
If you hear what's going on in my head when I'm doing this, it's a comedy. That crazy voice, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But of course.
Why is no one laughing?
I am containing myself because I have to behave like a queen. So I'm really there and I'm like, oh my God, the African kings, I'm seated next to the African kings. I am among them. And I'm trying kind of discreetly to kind of like get a sense of the room and look at them. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe what is going on here. And I try to keep my composure, and it's also go back to the path that I had chosen, to go back in the tradition, go back and be grounded. But it's now like, oh my God, that one choice, that 1 second. And here I am. Really? I'm like among kings of Africa. And so the beautiful ceremony, my friend, the king of 𝐸𝐵𝐸 comes with his whole entourage, the drumming and everything. I'm having goosebumps just thinking about this because it's almost like I still don't believe it happened. So drumming, the dancers, oh my God. It's like the Africa to this core. I'm right there. Incredible. And I'm part of it. So, okay.
And now what?
All right, so the celebration is over. They ask all the kings to move, to go to a place. So I'm with the kings, I'm not with the queens. So all of them are men. I'm the only woman. So I already noticed they sat me with the kings. The queens are there, the spouses of those men.
Yes.
are there. They have their own section. They look beautiful, all kinds of ways. I'm like, oh my God, look at the queens over there. But I'm with the king was over here. So now I'm realizing, okay, this thing is like the throne my father was talking about. It's kind of like it's there already. So they usher us in the room and they say, they close the room. And he gave me strength to say, at the end of the day, and my people say, the crown chose you to sit on. So therefore, I said, if the crown felt I was good enough to choose me, then there's nothing I have to change. I'm just going to be me. Yeah. So that's who I am. I am Diambi. I am a bearer of good news. I love when people around me have a smile on their face. And that was the same since the time I was a child.
Beautiful. You have such an incredible story. And I'm just so very thankful. This was amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
Thank you for being there, for listening.
So much. And I'm so inspired by you.